Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it? We were playing life and he was the police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button down and exposed my breasts and said, what can I do to get out of paying this? He said, Mom, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to prostitute yourself to me? A couple days of flirting and sexual innuendo later, I literally had to spell out that I was trying to fuck him. We've been together 6 years now. Yo, that dude is serious about his role playing. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room, per my suggestion. Things are going good, and about an hour into it she says, "Ooh, let me see your room," so we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, "Oh my God, your bed is so comfortable." I responded with, "We live in the same building, it's the same bed as yours." She left about 10 minutes later. Oh my fucking God, dude, lol. Honestly, I think I reacted in a similar way. We were talking about canoes and I said I'm like a canoe because I'm wet and you can go inside me, and he said canoes aren't really wet. Edit, some people think he was rejecting me, but we ended up dating for 2 years. He told me my hair looked nice. I said, bet it would look nicer with your hands in it. He said, in a very confused tone, you want me to style your hair? Edit, glad one of y'all thought my mixed signals was worth silver. This one is great. At least he managed to say he was clueless. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him, and he kept inching backwards too, since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way. He ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable, he truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. This one made me laugh out loud. Imagining him scooting all the way off the bed just to give you space is so sweet, lol. I threw my panties at him and he kept explaining God of War lore. This one wins. Man of culture. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until like 2 a.m., sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, "How do you tell if a girl is into you?" He suspected that you were hinting and gave you a way to confirm or deny. Good move on his part. I want to agree with you. But my answer was something like, if they hang out with you late at night, try and make a lot of physical contact, compliment you. And he said, "Ah, cool," and then drove me home. We've talked about that night since, and he said he genuinely didn't think that I was into him. Honestly, the boy has not received a ton of affection in his life, so when I threw some at him he just did not know what to think of it. Reading these posts has gotten me even more confused. I am a guy in my 30s. Basically 70% of the top replies has happened to me a lot, except the super obvious ones where the girl is making a physical move, hugs/kiss. But the couple of times I've actually made the move, nope, they just want to be friend. FML, I guess. And this is why we ignore all those hints. I'm a guy, but I once had an experience where I took the hint but still got rejected. A girl had asked me if I lost my virginity yet. We were in high school. When I said I hadn't, she said that I could practice on her whenever I want. Mind you, we walking home after school because we lived close. I try to act on this hint when we get to her house and she said she was only joking and doesn't want it to be weird with us as friends. Is it possible to get second-hand depressed? Because I think I just did. Before we started dating, I told my current boyfriend I love you and he said, "Oh, I love you too, you're such a good friend." The whole time we thought we were both friend-zoning each other. Wasted half a year going in circles. Shake my head. So answering in lieu of my late wife here, I, husband, am dumb. Like, really dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too, but she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking, asked me in detail about my package, gave me her phone number with the line, "Hit me up if you want pizza and sex." We went out for lunch. She offered to fellatio me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got meat lovers pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom stark naked and I had some DDs staring at me. She kissed me and told me, "I want you to fuck me, you idiot." A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really fucked up exes and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person and wait on them hand on foot. But she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there: if my wife telling me "I want you to fuck me" got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort that'll get through to anybody. This was really sweet, and I hope you're doing okay. Guy here was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We're about half hour in and she says she might take a shower. I'm like, okay, kinda random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken, so don't come in. Says it 3 or 4 more times. Again, I'm like, okay. Weird, she said that multiple times, but okay. 1 hour later the shower is still running. I can hear her singing and humming away, so I know she's okay and hasn't drowned. Thinking, gee, that's a long shower though. Water goes off and she comes out dressed and says, "You didn't come in?" I'm confused as I'm like, WTF, she told me not to. She sits back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. We wrap up after 5 minutes drive home. Mate asks me how study was about a week later and the situation, which I hadn't given a single brain cell of thought to since. I explained to him. As I'm saying it out loud, a penny drops as to what a big fuckhead I am. She's the idiot, not you. She literally told you not to come in. It's entirely reasonable not to come in. Can you believe that creep of pervert came in after I told him 4 times not to? I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower and I was like, well, they are big, I'm sure it's fine, and he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. Before my boyfriend asked me out, he kept hinting at the fact that we were both single and everyone though we would be cute together. I was like, haha, yeah, not realizing he was trying to ask me out. Wait, this happens in reverse, not just guys missing hints? I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. See, this is a rough one, because I had this one girl I'd talk to all the time, and she'd sit next to me in class. I had a huge crush on her, and she'd be overly touchy all the time. She'd occasionally even rest her head on my shoulder, sleep on it during class when she was tired. Just stare into my eyes for prolonged periods of time, and hug me. When I told her I had a crush on her, she shut me down completely, and told me she only saw me as a friend. Smile. It's amazing how I can look at those two little symbols and know that the smile is empty and the eyes are dead and hollow. Sorry for your loss. Guy here but once had a girl drag me into the bathroom while at a college party saying she needed help finding her marker pen. We didn't find it and I figured out what was really going on a year later. I had a girl. They were all of Harley Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other sort bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley? My name is Harley? Damn, I feel so bad for her. That's a perfect line too. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on or panties. I told her that's okay, I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfy. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well, obviously. You're naked. So I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. Edit. Obligatory thank you for the silver, and I'm glad everyone is laughing at my pain. I've tried responding the best I can, but some of you guys are getting weirdly mean and it kills the mood. I used to be oblivious, probably still am. There was a girl at a local grocery store who was flirting with me, but of course, I didn't get it. After quite a bit of this, I leave town for a few months and we're corresponding via email. I can't remember why, but I was asking her a string of silly questions, like, why is the sky blue? Chicken or the egg first? Where do babies come from? Etc. She answered them all, saving where do babies come from for last, and answered it with, when you get back I'm going to show you I got that one. When I was like 15 to 16, this girl from school I had a huge crush on kept inviting me to her house when she was alone, wearing the smallest tops and asking for back massages. I never got the hint. Years later, when I started going out with my now fiancé, that girl's sister tells my GF, hey, my sister had such a crush on him back in school. I was not a bright teenager. 15 to 16-year-old me hates 15 to 16-old you. Thanks for binging with the Reddit Wolf. Don't forget to like and subscribe.